Hello once again. I'm back for a third episode, and this time I thought I would cover some stuff on cherubim and sphinxes to keep up with the ancient Egypt and ancient Babylon references. So everyone is familiar with the Roman Catholic idea of the cherubim, right? The little naked boys. I don't even want to go into where that probably came from, but my first goal is going to tear that down and go even farther back to the Isaiah stuff, right? The cherubim, Isaiah or Ezekiel? Sorry, Ezekiel. The human, lion, eagle, ox, cherubim faces, the four faces in the four directions that carry God around, the four of them on their throne, on God, carrying God's throne. And yeah, so the Orthodox Church kept this up, especially in their artwork. That they've got the human, lion, eagle, ox depictions along with the wings. And maybe I'll do another one on seraphim because there's a lot of avenue of the wordplay. And no spoilers for that. I'll keep it a secret. But yeah, seraphim and cherubim. So cherubim, angels, we are used to seeing them like this, if not for the naked little boys, which are even worse. But in reality, if you go farther back to the ancient Assyrian churches, the early churches, they look more like this. And that doesn't look at all like the Orthodox art. And it probably doesn't look at all like anything in anyone's mind. Except for, you're probably thinking to yourself, wait, I've seen that before in Babylon, right? Next to Assyria, next to where these churches were, these old churches. And that's right, the Babylonian artwork for the Apkallu, for the bird people. The very same ones that I was showing you guys pictures of last time and the time before that show up in the ancient Egyptian art as well, right? So, which is why I think those were cherubim also, the cherubim and the women surrounding the Dendara zodiac, right? The stories of Enoch, of the fallen angels sleeping with women. In my opinion, that's where all that stuff comes from. Yeah, once again, he's holding we'll see later what he's holding in his hand matches up with a lot of ancient Babylonian art of the fruit of knowledge, the fruit from the Garden of Eden that got Adam and Eve kicked out, the poisoning of humanity's DNA. But once again, that's all for a later time. So keep this idea of the four body parts, human, lion, eagle, ox, in your mind, that this is how a cherubim is described and not as they're typically depicted. So where else do we see those four body parts all together? That's right, we see them once again in Persia on this character called Lamassu. And you've probably seen these, the winged bulls of Assyria. I thought I read somewhere that they are found as far away as India, Lamassu, as in their present title, as they're called. There are, I'm not sure the source on that. I have to go find it again. But you can easily derive from other mythologies this human, lion, eagle, ox spreading its way. And in India, they do have a similar one, Kamadhenu, which human head lion, or human head like the Lamassu cow body, ox body, instead of the ox feet. Lamassu had ox feet, eagle wings once again, but also peacock wings. And keep the peacock in mind, he's going to show up also later. And human lion, yeah, I guess they dropped the lion part. It's funny, as they play the game of telephone, they always drop animals. We're going to see that when we get to Egypt. So Kamadhenu is the mount of, I forget which Hindu deities, Shiva and Parvati, I think. I forget. Someone's going to correct me on that. But then you also have the mount of the other two deities in Hinduism is Garuda, who also has a few of these similar human, lion, eagle qualities. And once again, game of telephone, we're getting farther and farther away from the original, because I'm gonna take things one more step in this. These human-like bird people, and in the same area, same religion, is foundational text in Hinduism is the Ramayana, right? The Ramakien next door in Buddhism. And in those texts, you have these bird people, the Canary, right? The bird, or human head, bird legs. Now, if you keep going, okay, this is going to kind of go full circle on the ancient text, but the Canary happen to also, these bird women, happen to also be depicted in, I think I lost the tab on this one, but the Odyssey. If you go to the ancient depictions of the Odyssey, then the sirens are also depicted as these bird people as well. Let's see if we can find it there. I guess right there. Odysseus and the Sirens. And here the women are birds. I have to go check in the original if they're depicted as, if they're written as birds, or if it's just in this artwork here. But if you go back and read the Ramayana, and if you go back and read the Iliad, you'll find a whole lot of plot points in common. Guy from the south goes across the sea to the north, kidnaps the other guy's wife, takes her back, and starts a war. I guess the big difference being in the Greek version they use boats, but in the ancient Hindu or Vedic version they use flying machines, and there will be a whole other video on that, I'm sure. So yeah, we're at the Canary. So I'll stop that thread traveling into the Far East, and I'll kind of reset things back to Persia with these human lion eagle forms, these tetramorphs, right? We have this Simurgh is another ancient Persian story, and if you like your Persian poetry, then there's a lot of good stories that talk about this guy. Persian and Zoroastrian, right? And keep Zoroastrian in mind, it'll pop up in a second. But so the Simurgh, it sometimes has a dog face, and it sometimes has a human face, but I don't know if I can find any good human face forms of it. But the Simurgh is, because of its mythology of rebirth and stuff like this, it's commonly thought of as the precursor to the Phoenix, the Greek Phoenix. So, more game of telephone through the mythologies. And not only the Phoenix, but if you go farther into Central Asia, you find this flying snow leopard. This is the best picture I could find of this statue in Bishkek that I've seen in a few places in Central Asia. And keep our old topic of ancient Egypt of Osiris, right? The cone skull Osiris in mind, and his connection to Nimrod, because here we have, once again, in Central Asia, we have the Saka golden warrior with his same cone skull. He's on an obelisk just like Osiris, right? And he's riding on the back of a flying snow leopard. He's got his bow and arrow in hand just like Nimrod, once again. Yeah, the cone skull just like Nimrod also. But you see here from the obelisk, you see the Osiris-Nimrod connection. And the more I go into ancient or even modern cities around the Black Sea area where Nimrod's kingdom was, where his two sons, Hunor and Magor, the Scythians, where they were, you'll find more of these obelisks popping up to Nimrod, even still today. So yeah, more modern, we also have the Burak, which is depicted kind of similar to the Simurgh, which once again goes all the way back to the Lamassu, all the way back to the Tetramorph. And then, once again, to go back to the Saka Golden Warrior, here's its pair from ancient Assyria. We have the god Asher, which I was saying was Nimrod before, right? Now Asher here, he's riding on the sun with wings, just like the Saka warrior is in this statue. He's riding on the flying snow leopard tetramorph. And that's why I'm of the opinion that the sun with wings here is yet another cherubim depiction. Even though in this ancient picture, I forget where this one's from. There's another one with this is the tree of knowledge in the middle, and it's got the bird people on the outside, which I said were cherubim. I think that the thing he's flying here is also a cherubim. Maybe not. Whatever he's flying on, I think that Asher here is Nimrod. Nimrod is the dude who had the DNA modified and got turned into a giant, right? Well, when we get more into Satan and his different forms, the reptilians around the world in ancient mythology, we'll get more into the UFO stuff, like I said, the Vimana stuff. And this may or may not be a cherubim, and it may or may not be an ancient flying machine of Vimana, but we'll get into that more later. But so, yeah, keep Asher here in mind with his cone skull and his hands especially. See how his hands are up like that? We're going to look at another picture of Asher where he does have his bow and arrow in hand, more pronounced cone skull, and his hands are up once again. And I'm going to compare that going all the way back to ancient Egypt. Here in ancient Egypt, maybe I mistook this guy for Osiris, but you can see he's got his hands up in the same way. What he's holding, I don't know if it's a whip or something like that. It looks like half of a bow and arrow. I'm not going to claim to know this guy's origin story, but I'm going to use this as evidence more that the art from ancient Egypt was lifted from ancient Babylon. Because, same thing. They just kind of fudged a few details. Game of telephone, right? All goes back to Babylon and the Black Sea. A random side note, the Black Sea, before the Younger Dryas flood 12,000 years ago, the Black Sea was above water. And I've heard, I think, Jimmy and Bright Insight saying the Black Sea has the most sunken cities, most sunken ruins in it, more than the Mediterranean. And the Mediterranean has more than every other coastline, and every other coastline in the world has sunken settlements around it. So there was definitely something there. There's also a thread of underground caves that you find in just about every city around the Black Sea. In Odessa, Ukraine, in somewhere in Romania, there's this cave that farmers would use, or people used to escape the war. Under Istanbul, there's caves you can go on tours through them and see the ancient carvings of giants that are down there. There's the stories from Revelations and from local legend that underneath the Tigris and Euphrates are angels chained up, right? So there's lots of stuff going on down there. So once again, taking things all the way back to the beginning, the tetramorph theme, and I'll tie this into ancient Greece, right? So in Persia, we had the human, lion, eagle, ox, the same forms, and you go next door to Greece, and they lost the feet, and it's just human, lion, eagle, right? And then you go next door from Greece once again to Egypt, and now let's go to Europe, and you have the griffin once again, lion, eagle, lost the human head, and then you go to the Sphinx, and then you lost the eagle wings. But I'm convinced these are all the same thing. It's all a tetramorph. It's all a cherubim. And if you read the book, is it Isaiah or Ezekiel? At the beginning, I mixed the two up. But in one of them, it says Lucifer was the fallen cherubim that was kicked out of heaven for his pride, or for trying to take God's throne, or something like that. Random fact I should dig into more later is that if you read Josephus' account of Nimrod, it reads just like what Revelation says about the Antichrist, that he wanted to build the Tower of Babel to kick God off his throne, that he hated God. So, interesting connection of these same key players I keep bringing up. So yeah, a random fact about the Sphinx here, I just have to throw in a Stargate reference because I watched the movie like a week ago, and I made Stargate references in the last two videos, is that in the beginning of Stargate, Jackson, I really think he's modeled after Graham Hancock, but Jackson mentions the Sphinx is rain-weathered, which predates the desert. And I think there's some research paper out there that shows that 5,000 years ago that all of the Sahara was a jungle. So that's that. One last picture I forgot to bring up here is this in ancient Babylon, in Urartu. Once again, I always talk about Urartu. I need to do a thing on the triplet deities that go from Babylon to Urartu to Egypt. In Urartu, here I am scrolling through this report that I wrote about 4 years ago and have been trying to forward around. In Urartu, they've got this nice depiction of our bird people once again. And they don't just have the bird people depicted but they have them depicted in different forms. Like here they are with the eagle wings and the human head. Here they are with the eagle head and the human body. Here they are just like the Sphinx, except with like the Greek Sphinx. So it's got the lion body, eagle wings, human head. So these are shapeshifters. In my professional opinion, I think that the phase of the matter at every point on the body has access to these looped up dimensions. If you get into Kaluza Klein and string theory and the likes, I'm not a string theory fan. I'm a super gravity fan, or a loop quantum gravity fan. That's a different story. But I think that they can change which animal part is visible at which different time, which lets them change their appearance in all these different forms. As you see, in every one of these cases, it's always a human, lion, eagle, ox in different forms and different body parts, except of course these two at the end, which is our friend the hunter, right? It's Nimrod once again. And this is Urartu, which is Armenia, but if we go next door to ancient Turkey and the ancient Hittite stuff, you will find even more archers next to Cherubim here, or Apkalu or Lamasi, whichever one you want to pick. So yeah, there's my quick tour of Cherubim to Sphinx and a few other side detours. Hopefully not too rambling, but yeah, do enjoy, and I'll catch you guys later.